today's episode of The Scoop, where we talk about how seniors can overcome obstacles proactively. My name is Denise, and with me today is Carol Birch, elder law attorney. Carol has received her Doctor of Jurisprudence degree from the University of Texas Law in 1992. Since opening her practice in 1996, Carol has been a champion for the elderly and disabled in San Antonio and the surrounding areas. She's even extended her services to making house calls to those who are unable to get out and receive proper legal counsel. Thank you so much for joining us today, Carol.
My pleasure.
We are just honored to have you on our show. We know that you come with tons of wisdom and a wealth of knowledge that we feel like that our audience is in need of hearing. So I'm going to kind of start out with asking you a few questions.
Okay.
Does everyone need estate planning?
Denise, everyone over 18 needs estate planning.
Over 18?
Over 18. If you're under 18, then you cannot do estate planning because you're too young. You're not an adult.
Okay.
But once you hit 18, you need estate planning, and that means that you need your power of attorney for medical decision making, your power of attorney for financial decision making, and if you're 18, you probably don't have much, but you might as well have a will as well.
Really? You kind of surprised me a little bit with saying 18. I don't think I expected to hear you say that.
Well, think about it. All the big cases that have involved medical decision making have involved women who were in their 20s. Okay,
Wow.
Let me explain that.
Okay.
The medical power of attorney is the document that lets you say what you want, who you want to make medical decisions for you if you can't, right? Okay. Well, if something happens to you, you're in a car accident and you end up brain dead, but on a feeding tube and on a ventilator, you want to be able to have someone make medical decisions for you, and you want that person to know what you want. Do you want to continue on a ventilator, or do you want to be removed from life-sustaining treatment? The medical power of attorney and the directive to physicians let you appoint someone to make decisions and let you say what kind of care you want. So as soon as you turn 18, you want to have that document.
That's very good.
Okay.
Very good.
And you also need the financial power of attorney, because if you become incapacitated, you need someone to handle financial matters for you, and you can become incapacitated in a car accident.
Very true.
So
it's very important to get it done as soon as you become an adult.
it really is. I know most people wait and they think, they come to me at 70 and they've never done a power of attorney before, but we really need them as soon as we're able.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. If you're married, do they automatically have power of attorney of you with the marriage?
That is a great question. For medical decision making, if you don't have a medical power of attorney, your spouse is who the law turns to.
Okay.
Okay? But for finances, there is no automatic spouse can do anything for you.
Wow.
So if you've got bank accounts that your spouse isn't on, or your IRA, your spouse isn't on your IRA,
Right.
or insurance policies, all those things, your spouse has no authority to act regarding those accounts without financial power of attorney.
So it's very important to make sure that you listen to Carol's advice as I am listening to your advice, and make sure that these important documents are taken care of.
Absolutely.
I think I just assumed my husband had the right to step in and make those decisions. I didn't know that the financial piece that would have to, his name's not on, I didn't know that.
Well, and even for medical, even though your spouse can step in, if you have a second spouse and you have adult children from the first marriage, let's say, remember that we turn to the spouse, but those adult children may not agree with that spouse. There may be conflict. So you need the medical power of attorney so that you have actually thought about who should make medical decisions for you. Maybe you don't want your spouse to make those decisions. Maybe you do want one of your children.
Right.
Okay? You want to think about who you want, and you also want to have the conversation with your family.
You mean you want to communicate with your family? What?
Amazingly enough, I recommend communication.
Okay, so I think that that's a very good point. We bring up communication often on this show because many times things are done, but the people who are in charge of those things, it's not been communicated with them.
Absolutely. So let's say that you come to me and we do a whole set of estate planning documents, and it's all nice and beautiful and on 100% cotton paper. It is fabulous, right? Notarized and witnessed and fabulous. but you never have a conversation with the person you appointed as your financial agent or your medical agent. Well, first of all, they're going to be really upset when they find out that you've put them in this position of making decisions for you because you're incapacitated and they don't have a clue what your wishes are.
That's good.
Okay. And secondly, you've given them a job.
A very important job.
An important job and a hard job.
Yeah.
And you never gave them the opportunity to say, Denise, no, I don't think I want that job.
Yeah.
So,
Good point. So what if after the paperwork, I mean, really they should be having those conversations before the paperwork's drawn up, really.
Yes, what I would prefer is that you have the conversation and then come to me. But a lot of people don't know to have the conversation, so they come to me and I say, all right, we're going to do this, this, and this, and go home and have some quality time with your loved ones and talk about fun topics like incapacity and dementia.
But that's really good that you do that. I like to point that out because I don't know that that's the case everywhere. So I'm glad to know that you are initiating that proactive communication at the time of them putting that paperwork together. What's the most important estate planning document a caregiver should have for their loved one?
There's two, the financial power of attorney and the medical power of attorney. So the financial power of attorney is just the document that says who can handle your finances for you if you are incapacitated. Now, we want you to be sure that the person you choose is trustworthy. And that seems obvious. You think, oh, Carol, duh. But no, especially if it's parents naming their children, parents seem to get this rose-colored glasses kind of thing when they're thinking about their kids. And, you know, Johnny does have that felony for drugs. And he did try to steal from his sister, but I'm sure he's the right one for me to name as my financial agent. No, he's not. No, he's not.
Yeah. Now, if they disclose that kind of information with you, will you kind of help them, lead them to the right direction, or do you just take the decisions that they want?
Oh, no. I'm way too judgmental to just say, okay, Johnny. Yeah. No, my job is to counsel my clients.
That's good.
So ultimately, it's their decision because it's their wishes. But I've got to say, look, I really don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's good though, because you might be the only person that tells them that in all true reality, because if they are looking through those rose-colored lenses, sometimes those are very hard conversations to have with those we love.
Yeah. That is true.
Does Medicare pay for long-term care?
I'm glad you asked. The answer is N-O.
No.
Yeah, should I not have spelled that out?
No, that was good.
No.
No, I think it's a good, important topic because for 15 years I've been serving seniors, and I would say out of 500 families that I've worked with, roughly 80% of them don't know this answer.
Yeah. So Medicare will cover rehab, skilled nursing, okay? But it will not cover custodial care. The kind of care that you need if you're incapacitated, if you need assistance with your activities of daily living, Medicare will not cover it. Medicare is out. Don't rely on it. Change your mind. Change your thinking.
So Medicare is for basically your health insurance. Your health insurance before you get Medicare is not going to pay for your living, just like Medicare is not going to pay for your living once you become to the point you can't take care of yourself.
That's right. And TRICARE for Life is also not going to pay for your custodial care.
Okay.
So health insurance, Medicare, TRICARE, that's not what they pay for. They pay for health insurance.
Very good. Do you have any advice that you would like to share with our audience from your experience of working with the families you've worked with?
I think two things. One is just to reiterate, get the power of attorney for finances and get the power of attorney for medical decision making. And then two, and again to reiterate, so I'm like a broken record, really think about who you're appointing, because that person is going to control your quality of life when you're incapacitated. So it's got to be someone who is detail-oriented, honest, trustworthy, will be an advocate for you.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, when you're appointing those agents under your powers of attorney, you're going to appoint a primary, but you're also going to appoint an alternate and even a second alternate, because we never know what's going to happen.
That's right.
Something can happen to the person you appoint. They can die. They can become incapacitated themselves. So we need alternates.
Okay. And if you were to get your paperwork done at an early age, how often should you go back and review those documents?
That's a great question. So I tell folks you should review your documents anytime something happens that makes you really happy or really sad.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So you get a divorce, that can make you happy or sad.
That can go either way.
You have a baby, someone dies.
Sure.
Those are all things that are big emotional issues, and you want to review your documents and make sure that they still reflect your wishes.
That's wonderful advice, I think. As you all can tell, Carol's definitely a great expert in the law end of how things need to be done properly. Would you care to just take a minute and let them know how they could contact you?
Sure. You can always contact me from my website, which is assistingseniors.com, or they can give me a call. My number is 210-892-4555. So if you don't want to remember that number, assistingseniors.com is the way to get me.
That's awesome. And we'd like to thank you again for joining us
Oh,
today on
thank
this
you.
episode of The Scoop. And thank you all for joining us today.
Come get your scoop at Bee's Knees.
And remember, if you're ever in need for your aging loved ones, our services are free. Call us today. Our number is located at the bottom of the screen.